For those who are unfamiliar, Spike Lee's Oldboy, a remake of the 2003 film of the same name by Park Chan-wook, follows the story of Joe Doucette, played by Josh Brolin, an alcoholic advertising executive who's kidnapped and held in solitary confinement for 20 years and then suddenly released. The successful portions of the film are primarily due to Brolin's performance, which isn't enough to overcome the uninspired repeat of the 2003 film's most iconic moments, nor the truly abysmal third act, in which the script makes the most distinct departure from the source. Spike Lee's Oldboy handles Doucette's decline into madness and grueling passage of time adeptly, but not as gut-wrenchingly as the original. Doucette watches the world change on his one and only friend, the TV, but it starts to feel more about the evolution of technology and less about a man coming undone, though that's there as well. In fact, a central issue with the film is that Brolin's Doucette is made better by his trials in a very pat, disappointingly Tinseltown take on life manner. Brolin has a formidable presence and doesn't just sink his teeth into this character, but rips the meat off the bone. However, Doucette is so crass and such a filthy beast at the outset that he's already reads as a ruthless brute. There's just not enough room for him to grow. A lot of the sense of consequence is lost as a result, because it's about taking a non-neutral character and redeeming him versus a neutral one and pushing him to an extreme. Part of what made the original so effective was that it was not entirely clear that the protagonist had done anything wrong. In Lee's version, the punishment is still far too extreme, but it does feel more like Doucette had it coming. In general, the subtlety is lost, particularly in Doucette's manufactured final and completely unbelievable redemptive act. On a positive note, Elizabeth Olsen turns in a fine performance as a damaged but well-intentioned young woman determined to assist Doucette on his search for his long-lost daughter. Sam Jackson is all you'd want from a big Sam Jackson speechifying henchman. There's some beautifully vivid and painterly shots and sequences, including the one man and a hammer against the world fight, but they're often all too familiar. Spike Lee's signatures are there, including his favored free-floating dolly shots, but the bulk of the striking images are lifted directly from Chan-wook's original. They're simply made more colorful. And as to colorful, Shalto Copley, who plays the villain of the piece, is ordinarily a fascinating actor to watch, but here he reads as distractingly mannered, odd, and frankly just plain hammy. Ultimately, Oldboy isn't an entirely worthless film, but it is an unnecessary one. Brolin, Jackson, and Olsen's portrayals are compelling and more than worthy. Unfortunately, Copley, who is often a standout, feels like he's delivering performance art rather than a performance. There are some haunting visual motifs, and the plot twists are as depraved as one would imagine, and maybe desire. Overall, the changes that are made detract from rather than enhance the story. At the end is where it really falls apart, though. Park Chan-wook's complex meditation on violence, responsibility, revenge, and poetic justice is bastardized and morphed into a cartoonish and contrived Hollywood version. Simply put, there is very little in this new Oldboy that the original didn't do better. IGN is giving Oldboy a 5.